In 1996, Michael Schumacher's relationship with Ferrari had only just begun, and it was at Imola that the then two-time world champion truly entered the hearts of the Tifosi, storming to his first pole position for the team and sending the swathes of scarlet-clad fans into meltdown. The German had pushed his F310 so hard that moments after setting his fastest lap, the suspension on the car failed. Schumacher couldn't quite deliver the win in front of the home crowd on Sunday, bravely fighting on following a brake disc explosion that left his front right tyre completely locked up as he crossed the line on 3 wheels. It was an epic effort that saw him finish just ahead of Gerhard Berger to claim second place and cement his place in the affections of Ferrari fans worldwide. During F1's pre-qualifying era, just getting into the race was an achievement in itself. But in 1991, Jirki Järvi-Lehto, better known as JJ Lehto, not only came through it, but stunned everyone by going on to earn a remarkable podium finish. In a race that saw both Alain Prost and Gerhard Berger spin off on the formation lap, Lehto battled bravely through the wet and made a perfectly timed call to switch to slick tyres just as the weather improved. Driving the wheels off his Dallara, Lehto battled his way all the way from 16th to a career-best 3rd place in an astonishing performance. It would be the only time JJ stood on an F1 podium.
We didn't expect such a good result, but of course everything was going very well. The car was working perfect. I was just making sure that I can finish the race, and then when we changed the slicks, it was getting better and better, the car, and I was just going for it.
The 2001 San Marino Grand Prix saw a Schumacher take to the top step of the podium, except this time it was the younger of the brothers, with Ralf claiming his first Formula One victory. A stunning getaway at lights out shot him from the second row right to the front, passing both McLarens on the rundown to the first corner. Schumacher claiming a lead he would not relinquish, leading every lap of the race and taking the checkered flag.
Yes! Well done, Ralf! Well done!
Schumacher's maiden win came in his 5th season in the sport and also ended a 4-year winning drought for Williams.
Minimum wheel spin with traction control. Prost leads beside him. Damon Hill is challenging. But he's his left-hand corner and Prost should get through before they come up to the right-handed Villeneuve bend. Senna is already up into 2nd position.
And after a poor start at Imola, Prost had it all to do to return his reputation to the top level. But that's exactly what he did. Both Senna and Damon Hill had jumped the Frenchman, heading into the first corner. But Prost regrouped, and on lap 12, as Senna and Hill battled on the racing line, he saw an opportunity. His audacious move gave Prost the advantage, but with victory all but secured, there was still more for him to overcome. As the race moved into its final stages, the throttle on his Williams stuck open whilst travelling at over 200 miles per hour. Only through amazing car control was the Frenchman able to nurse his stricken car through the final 7 laps to claim the checkered flag and bring himself back to within 2 points of Senna in the championship standings. The roots of Patrick Tambay's emotional win at the 1983 San Marino Grand Prix were actually formed 1 year earlier, when Gilles Villeneuve and Didier Pironi put on a brilliant show for the crowds, with a hotly disputed battle that caused a big falling out between the Ferrari teammates. Afterwards, Villeneuve vowed never to speak to the Frenchman again, before tragically losing his life in a terrible accident at the very next race. 12 months later, the Italian crowd celebrated the memory of Il Grande Villeneuve, with banners and signs adorning the grandstands, willing their beloved Ferrari to win in his honour, and with Tambay running his close friend's famous number 27. He soon took the lead, but his victory was hard won.
And suddenly, I got hit on the head by, I don't know what, a bird. I had the feeling then that I had been waken up by something spiritual. Gilles was in the car, and that's why I said I did it for Gilles also.
With his engine stuttering, Tambay crossed the line first to earn a cathartic and emotional victory for everyone at Imola. Watching the world's best drivers fighting is always a spectacle to behold, but fans were treated to something truly special at the 1985 San Marino Grand Prix, when, for the first time, spectators got to taste the excitement of watching Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost go wheel to wheel for supremacy. The Brazilian led away from the line with Prost down in 6th, but the Frenchman fought his way through the field and was soon tailing Senna's Lotus. Clearly driving the faster car, Prost tried every trick in the book to muscle his way past, but Senna held on, positioning his car in all the right places in a remarkable display of defensive driving.
Senna withstanding the enormous pressure that the more experienced Grand Prix driver Alain Prost is applying to him in an incredibly matured way.
More than a dozen laps of incredible racing gave fans a tantalising glimpse of a rivalry that would become legend. However, Senna's efforts would ultimately come to nothing, as both he and a succession of front runners all ran out of fuel, including Ferrari's Stefan Johansson, who had briefly led in the closing stages, much to the anger of the Italian fans. It was Prost that went on to take the win, but as the champagne sprayed from the podium, his McLaren was found to be underweight, having run out of fuel on the slowdown lap. Prost was instantly disqualified, handing the victory to the second Lotus of Elio De Angelis. Nigel Mansell's 2 years at Ferrari earned him the nickname Il Leone, the Lion, Mansell racing with a big-hearted bravery and determination that endeared him to the Tifosi. And his fearless approach was never more apparent than when fighting for the lead at the 1990 San Marino Grand Prix with McLaren's Gerhard Berger.
He's getting close, and Mansell's going to go for the lead right now, and he pulls... Well, don't flat the tyres.
Mansell's spectacular 190 mph, 360-degree spin was a mind-blowing piece of car control, with the Englishman immediately restarting his chase for victory.
I thought he will pass me in the end of the straight, and then suddenly I saw on the left side, and I go on the right, but it was already too late, and he spun off because he was, I think, with 2 wheels on the grass.
But the racing gods did not look kindly on Mansell's gargantuan effort, and he soon found his car was a wounded beast. Debris from the spin blocked his radiators, and he was forced to pull out of the race in a plume of smoke, as a roar of disappointment echoed around the circuit. Reigning world champion Mika Hakkinen started from his 3rd straight pole position of the 1999 season at the San Marino Grand Prix and quickly built up a 12-second advantage over teammate David Coulthard. But at the end of lap 17, the flying Finn pushed his McLaren too hard.
Off goes Mika Hakkinen! Off goes Mika Hakkinen out of the race!
The spectacular error by the championship leader gave Ferrari the upper hand, with the Scuderia outfoxing Coulthard with a clever 2-stop strategy that allowed Michael Schumacher to leapfrog him into the lead. It was Ferrari's first victory at Imola since Patrick Tambay's and boosted Schumacher into the lead of the drivers' standings. The 1989 San Marino Grand Prix is possibly best remembered for Gerhard Berger's massive 180 mph crash.
Big crash by Berger. Without any doubt, it went straight on.
Berger's Ferrari was heavy on fuel and erupted into flames as marshals rushed to put the fire out. Amazingly, it took just 16 seconds for help to arrive and for the Austrian to be pulled to safety as the race was red flagged.
Until the moment where I touched the wall, I remember everything. And after I sleep a little bit because I was tired.
Fortunately, Berger escaped with superficial injuries, but another consequence of the race being restarted was that it became the catalyst for Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna's rivalry being truly ignited. A pre-race gentleman's agreement between the pair was made with the understanding that whichever driver led into the first corner would go unchallenged by the other. Senna led the first start from pole, but after the crash it was Prost who was faster off the line, storming past Senna into turn 1, only for the Brazilian to come roaring back around Tosa. With both drivers believing they were wronged, Senna's pass caused a rift that reverberated through the rest of the season and escalated into the sport's most bitter rivalry. In In 2005, another two titans of Formula One went head-to-head in a fierce duel that signified a changing of the guard. Imola saw a tense battle between Renault's Fernando Alonso and Ferrari's Michael Schumacher. Already a seven-time world champion and at the peak of his powers, roaring back from 13th on the grid to put the young Spaniard under immense pressure in the closing stages.
This is a supreme amount of pressure for the young Spaniard.
Alonso's awesome display of defensive prowess saw him cross the line just 0.2 of a second ahead of Schumacher to claim a third straight win.
I had only one picture for the race, that I was winning the race, so I was ready to fight for the last laps. I really want the victory here.
But more significantly, this was the moment which showed that, without any doubt, Alonso had everything he needed to challenge the great Schumacher for the World Championship.